India's unemployment rate has risen to 5.6% in May.
Engineers. Engineering still remains India's top paying career fields in 2025. But if you ask people whether engineering is still worth it, most will give the same answers, like too many graduates, too few jobs, and a degree that doesn't guarantee anything.
It says a large number of Indian youth are out of work.
But when you look at what is actually happening across the country, the picture is very different. India is not slowing down on engineering, it is doubling down on it. In the last year, the engineering employability jumped from around 65% to more than 70%. This means more graduates are finally matching what the industry actually needs. At the same time, India is building faster than ever. Highways under Bharatmala, industrial corridors, smart cities, renewable plants, and data centers are expanding in every direction. And all of these projects need thousands of engineers. While students keep hearing that engineering is saturated, companies are reporting talent shortages in AI, clean energy, and semiconductors. This makes us realize that the problem is not that you have done engineering, but the problem is that you are not matching the right skills which are needed in the industry. In this video, first we will understand that how engineering drifted into the oversaturated zone, what caused this skill gap, and why and how engineering in 2026 is opening doors that did not even exist a few years ago. Now, to understand why engineering started carrying such a heavy reputation, we need to step back and look at how the entire system drifted off course. For many years, India produced more than 1.5 million engineering graduates annually. In theory, this should have created a vibrant and skilled workforce, ready to build the country's future. But in reality, only a fraction of these students were prepared for the roles industries expected them to take on. Every year, lakhs of students enter the job market with hope and ambition, but a large number walked out feeling confused and disappointed because their academic experiences did not match the kind of work real companies were doing. This is the reason out of 1.5 million graduates, nearly 10% were expected to secure jobs. The reason behind this was simple. Most colleges followed an outdated syllabus that had barely evolved with technological shifts. Labs existed, but often only on paper. Practical exposure was limited to routine experiments, repeated for marks, rather than actual problem solving. Students memorized definitions, equations, and theoretical explanations because that was the only way to score well. They rarely touched projects that challenged them to apply what they learned. So when graduation arrived, and they sat across interviewers expecting clarity of thoughts and hands-on familiarity with modern tools, the gap became painfully obvious. Companies looked for engineers who could work with software, hardware, automation, and domain-specific systems. Students, on the other hand, were trained to pass exams, not build solutions. This mismatch only grew wider each year, and the frustration spread quickly through batches. Many students accepted roles far outside their branch, simply because they had no other option. Taking advantage of this, many service-based companies stepped in with offers in the 3 to 4 lakh per year range. But even those roles demanded skills that most colleges had never taught. It became a loop of disappointment that repeated itself year after year. So when people say engineering is a dead field, they are not blaming the subject itself. They are reacting to a system that stopped working. The degree still has value, but the way it was taught, delivered, and understood is what failed. For years, many students believed that just getting a BTech or studying a popular branch or joining a known college would guarantee a stable career. But the world had changed, companies changed, but the training stayed the same. As a result, engineering began to look oversaturated. Now the real question is this: what has changed today that makes engineering a strong and reliable career path for the future? The story starts shifting in 2026 in a way that many students do not fully realize. India is entering a rare moment where 3 powerful growth waves are rising at the same time, and all 3 are powered by engineers. The first wave is infrastructure. India needs massive infrastructure growth because the country is expanding faster than its roads, cities, and logistics networks can support. As the population grows and industries shift toward manufacturing, renewable energy, and digital services, India needs stronger highways, better connectivity, and faster transport systems. The government's long-term vision is to create a seamless national network that reduces travel time, boosts trade, strengthens border regions, and supports economic growth for the next several decades. That is why projects like Bharatmala were launched. It is a national highway development program created to modernize India's road network by connecting economic corridors, border areas, and major cities through high-speed, efficient highways. Add to this the development of industrial corridors, metro networks in multiple cities, smart city projects, high-speed rail initiatives, and power infrastructure upgrades. Together, these represent one of the largest building phases India has witnessed in decades. None of this can happen without civil, mechanical, and electrical engineers who understand how to design, build, and maintain these massive systems. The second wave is renewable energy. India recently became the world's third largest solar energy generator and is rapidly expanding its manufacturing capacity. Solar plants, wind farms, storage solutions, and grid strengthening all require skilled engineers. But here is the surprising truth. The renewable sector does not have enough trained workers. Solar engineers, grid specialists, project developers, operation experts, and technicians are required in huge numbers. The shortage is expected to cross 1 million people in the coming years. For a country that has set ambitious clean energy targets, this shortage matters. It means that engineers who choose to skill themselves in these areas will enter a market where demand immediately exceeds supply. The third wave is digital technology, especially AI, cloud infrastructure, and semiconductors.
India has a young, tech-savvy population and a booming AI sector. The country has positioned itself as an AI hub.
India's AI market is expanding rapidly, and companies across industries are adopting machine learning, automation, and data-driven decision-making. Yet for every 10 AI job openings, there is often only one qualified engineer. This makes AI one of the strongest future domains for engineering graduates. Semiconductors are becoming a national priority. India aims to strengthen chip design, fabrication, and manufacturing. Estimates show the country may need more than 1 million trained professionals in these areas by 2027. These are roles that companies are actively looking to fill as soon as possible. India is moving into a phase where specialized engineering is not optional, but essential. Actually, the opportunities are not disappearing in engineering, but they are shifting into sectors that require deeper understanding, practical exposure, and the willingness to keep learning. If opportunities across infrastructure, renewables, and digital technology are this strong, then the obvious question is why the skill gap still exists.
It says a large number of Indian youth are out of work.
Why do so many students continue to struggle even when companies are desperate to hire? The truth is that engineering today requires a very different kind of preparation than what most students receive in college. Modern engineering roles demand comfort with experimentation, real projects, teamwork, and the ability to learn something new without waiting for a professor to teach it. The shift has created a world where your mindset matters as much as your marks. Today's engineering problems are messy and interconnected. A civil engineer works with simulation tools and data from sensors. A mechanical engineer deals with automation and digital twins. A computer science graduate must understand cloud deployments, not just code on a laptop. These expectations did not exist a decade ago. That is why many fresh graduates feel unprepared. The industry changed faster than the classrooms did. This does not mean you need to master everything. It means you need to build the habit of problem solving. When you work on real projects, you learn how to break down challenges, make decisions, test ideas, and fix what went wrong.
Possibly more of everything, more work, more thinking, more effort.
These are the skills companies pay for. Companies want people who can think clearly, communicate their ideas, ask the right questions, and keep improving their skills over time. Now that we understand how the expectations around engineering have evolved, the next question is simple. As a student or fresher entering the engineering world in 2026, where do you actually fit in? And which paths are growing fast enough to build a stable and rewarding career? If you're studying computer science or any computing-related branch, the opportunities in front of you are expanding in ways earlier generations never saw. Companies today are building AI systems, cloud platforms, automation pipelines, and data-driven products. These require engineers who understand not just programming, but the entire life cycle of a modern application. That includes planning how a system will behave, deploying it on real infrastructure, and ensuring it is secure and reliable. These roles often start in the mid-single-digit lakh range, but the real advantage is the speed of growth, because demand in AI, cloud, and data continues to rise. Skilled engineers often break into higher salary bands as they gain experience and build a strong portfolio of projects. If you're from mechanical, civil, or electrical engineering, the assumption that your field is outdated is simply not true. In fact, some of the biggest investments in India right now are happening in these areas that depend on these branches. Renewable energy projects need engineers who can design solar systems, optimize wind operations, and manage energy storage. Metro networks and high-speed rail require specialists who understand transportation engineering, signaling, structural analysis, and large-scale construction. Advanced manufacturing, electric mobility, and modern power distribution also need engineers who can blend classical principles with tools like simulation, automation systems, sensors, and digital monitoring. These are roles where your core knowledge is still the foundation, but the tools you add on top determine how far you go. Across all branches, one pattern becomes clear when you observe people who grow fast in their careers. They treat engineering as their entry point, not their final achievement. They identify sectors that are expanding, learn the technologies those sectors rely on, and build a handful of meaningful projects or experiences that prove they can contribute. These students recover their education costs faster because they move into industries with long-term stability. They build specialized skills that make them valuable. They switch roles confidently when they are ready for the next step. Two students may begin at the same salary, but their paths can diverge completely within a few years. One might stay at the same level, while the other reaches significantly higher income ranges. This difference rarely comes from luck. It comes from the clarity, focus, and the willingness to keep upgrading their abilities. Now, let us turn to the original question. Is engineering still worth it in 2026? The honest answer depends on how you see the degree. If you expect the degree alone to secure your future, the answer is no. That phase of India's job market has passed. But if you see your degree as a foundation, a starting point that allows you to specialize in areas where India is genuinely expanding, that engineering becomes one of the strongest pathways you can choose in this decade. India needs roads, bridges, power lines, AI systems, solar parks, chip design labs, manufacturing facilities, and data infrastructure. None of these can exist without engineers who understand both core principles and modern tools. The country is expanding in every direction, and engineering is expanding with it. Now, engineering does not promise immediate success. What it offers is potential. It gives you access to industries where the demand for skilled people is rising faster than the supply. If you stay curious, continue learning, and treat growth as a continuous journey, engineering is far from a dying path. It is one of the most future-ready career choices in India right now. And the next decade belongs to engineers who are willing to evolve, adapt, and build with intention.